Hello everybody, welcome once again to the channel. We are in the car, which means we just saw the latest film that came out this week, and that film was none other than the spy comedy thriller, Argylle. Let's just get right into it. DJ, what's your score, 1 to 10?
8.5.
Okay. I personally give the film about an 8. 8.5 is fair, so I'm kind of in between an 8.5 and an 8.
Give yours first. I want to hear yours.
Okay, so in general, this film is really, really fun, actually. Like, it leans hard into the fact that it is not just a spy thriller, it is straight up a spy comedy. There are a lot of twists and turns in it. You get a lot of different feelings and emotions that come up just following along with the plot. It's interesting, it's intriguing, it keeps you, like, motivated to continue on, and it's just a joy to watch. The issues that I had with the film personally is a lot of the graphics and continuity get a little bit bogged down, and then of course it leans into its tropiness a lot, which could detract from like the feeling of originality, but I think that they overcome that enough that this film overall for me is an 8 to an 8.5.
Yeah.
How about you?
I agree with all that. The reason I give it the 8.5, I give it all of what you said is what gives it the 8. The 8.5 for me actually is this film leans into the tropiness in a fun way.
Exactly.
This is like what Scream is to horror films.
That's fair. Yeah.
Where it leans into what it is. Mm-hmm. Or like, you know what it makes you think of is like Get Smart or
it is.
Get Smart, like
it's Get Smart, but with like more like popping visuals.
Yeah. Where Get Smart isn't really a true comedy. It's a spy thriller with comedy elements. The funniness isn't like character interaction. That's what this is. This film, the character interactions, there's a lot of like these silly little moments that are just fun and goofy, but they don't pull you out of the film.
Right.
And it's actually, in a way, even the unbelievable stuff works because the whole film has this like trippy, like mixed reality feeling to it. Like, you're never really sure. Like, it's like so many spy films, like Mission Impossible. Like, you don't really know, like, really what's going on and what's true, what's false, and it's revealed in spurts, like a lot of spy films are. And so that holds the suspension of disbelief because you're not sure where the line is. Mm-hmm. It gets clearer as you get towards the end of the film.
Yep.
But that makes it work really well. It gives it some good, and then it just has so much character.
It has a lot of character. The thing that's really great about this film is that it's kind of a combination of a psychological kind of aspects to it with the spy thriller elements, but it's kind of a blend, I would say, between Mission Impossible, like the Lost City kind of feel, where it's kind of a comedy. There's some
I would add in there Bourne Identity.
Yeah, it has a little bit of the Bourne Identity in it. And also Kingsman, of course. Yeah. It has elements from Kingsman.
There's a lot of just these. You can see that this was inspired by a lot of other spy films, but it doesn't copy from them. It takes elements from them, and it puts its own twist and its own flavor on it. And even though it leans into a lot of tropes, it's so much fun. You enjoy it. And a lot of times, I found myself actually being excited that what I thought was going to happen happened.
That's true. It is one of those films that I knew a lot of the twists before we even went into it. I probably predicted about 90% of the twists. Yeah. But at the same time, I wasn't disappointed with that. The reason that I came up with those twists is because I thought they would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like what happens later is a great example of an opposite to this film. What happens later, we had all these theories that if they came true, it would have been a little tropey, but it would have been so much better than what we got. Yeah. This one did what we wanted from that film. What we wanted from so many films this and last year. We wanted something that leaned hard into what it was, and it doesn't take itself so seriously that it can't be entertaining, but it also isn't so jokey that it's a laughing stock. Right. It's a perfect balance, and that's a hard line to fall on. I've seen so many films just cross that line in one direction or the other, and they fall apart, and this one just does it right. I applaud the creators. They did such a good job from beginning to end of just turning this into something fun and enjoyable.
I agree 100%. And as far as recommending it for a movie theater viewing, I 100% recommend it for the theater.
Yes.
It's not necessarily just like, oh, you're going to get like everything to your heart's content with the theater experience, but this film is really good and it deserves to do well in the theaters. And the other thing is that it was fun just having the rest of the audience, their reaction and things like that.
That was cool, and
yeah.
it was that was the thing. This had it wasn't like super packed, but it was a thickly packed. Like there was a lot of people in this theater.
Yeah. And
I think the last movie I watched with that many people was when we rewatched Return of the Jedi. There was anywhere near a decent amount of people in there, and we were able to get audience reaction. Oh no, FNAF.
FNAF, yeah.
FNAF was the last. Yeah. FNAF was the last time we had a big theater crowd. But this it just was so cool. Wonka was one that had a decent showing, but that audience reaction, like hearing other people gasp and with you, I forget sometimes that is part of the theater experience. Like there's like this.
It's like a community.
Yeah, it's like a community. It's like you're being validated in your feelings by feeling other people feel the same way that you do. You're like, oh, good, I'm not alone. It's fun. It was a blast.
It is absolutely a blast. 100% recommend for the theater experience. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start moving into our spoiler section. So if you're just here for the general review, there it is. Be sure to leave us a like, comment, let us know what you think about our reviews. We're always open to feedback. We're always open to improving so that we get the content that you want from us. Otherwise, be sure to subscribe, share us with your friends, and we will go ahead and spoilers.
You have been spoiled.
I cannot believe that not only at the end of the film did we get the reveal that Henry Cavill was actually a real person in the universe, but his name was none other than Kent Clark.
Oh.
Anyway, this film has a lot of twists and turns in it, and it is a lot of fun to watch. Probably the thing that detracts the film the most for me is mainly the scene that has them in the oil rig where the oil is spilling on the floor.
The ice skating.
The ice skating bothers me a lot, just because...
No, I'm just talking about that whole scene. The ice skating scene. Yeah. The oil looks so fake.
The oil, well, here's
that actually bothered me. The oil, I'm watching it, I'm like, this movie has had some weird CGI, but that oil looks so fake. And it turns out it was real oil for all I know, but it just looked
it's
real.
Not.
I know, but it looked so bad.
Well, it's flat. There's no like little bubbles and stuff in it. It doesn't really look like oil, and it's pure black. Oil is not like black. It's more like a brown.
It also crude oil also has like it has a light refraction to it, so you see like rainbows and like colorations in it and breakage of color.
Which obviously you're not going to be able to necessarily get 100% accurate, but this was literally just...
It looks...
It was flat black, no light reflecting, no anything. It didn't look like a liquid. It just was a creeping darkness. The thing that bothered me the most, though, wasn't even just the fact that the oil wasn't really good. It's the fact that she is like knees deep in it. Like she's skating across it on her knees. She's doing all of these different things, and then she's resting with her knee in the oil, and then when she gets up, no oil.
Yeah, that whole...
It would have been so much better if just the fact that her dress was 100% ruined because of all of the oil that was splattered.
And actually it would have been fun if okay, so to kind of give an idea of the critique of that part too, I was going to go back a little bit too and add. So the main point of this film is that she is, she doesn't remember who she is. She's broken, and they mess with her brain. She is twisted. She's an author of a story that's supposed to be like, not like Nostradamus, like just levels of accuracy of like what happened. But it turns out that she actually is the person that went through it. Now, we both called this before the movie that she would be Agent Argylle.
Yeah.
But the thing is that's the best way to do it. Like, honestly, that would be the most shocking thing. So we both were like, if they're going for full shock value, it's got to be her.
Yeah.
And it was. And that kind of hurt it a little bit when it happened, but it works. The problem is the twist actually for us, well, for me anyway, was how.
Yeah.
She gets into an accident and like her brain gets messed up, and so she's like Swiss cheese in her head. They talk about how they brainwash her, trick her, Manchurian candid her.
Yep.
Like they do everything. And so you don't really know the whole film what's real and what's not.
Right.
You don't, because she doesn't. She's constantly having hallucinations, flashbacks.
Well, and also the way
she's seeing
that
real characters as other characters.
Yeah, and the way that she's like interacting with different things and the other characters are interacting with her, we sit there and we go, okay, this person could say that they are who they say they are, but at the same time, plenty of people have not been who they said they were, and she remembers different aspects of it. And as more of the story is revealed and more of it's revealed by specific people, their agenda seems to go into the forefront of it. So you're like, oh crap, actually she is 100% this bad person, because the bad people are like, oh yeah, you're part of the team, you do all this, like,
yep.
This is how it is. And then the files corroborate and you're like, oh crap, she's going to be a bad guy. And then something else happens, another character interacts with her and you're like, oh no, she's actually like a good guy, she's trying to tear down the organization, blah blah blah, blah.
It's very reminiscent of Bourne, where there's a memory aspect and you don't really know who to trust, but it's slightly comedic on top of that, and it's very psychological, because it's more than just memory loss. She's been brainwashed and changed, so you can't tell what's real. There's a scene where they're like dancing in a hallway and shooting everybody, but then it shows Bryan Cranston looking at the screen and they're just kind of shooting like
they just filled the room with smoke. And the other thing too is she's seeing the room filled with like super colorful, bright, bubbly smoke, and they're choreographed and they're in sync. But then when it shows it from somebody else's perspective, it's like, no, it's just plain old smoke, and they're just going around in circles like popping people.
Yeah, like it's all in her head, and so that's really fun. This ice skating scene, then you can kind of think, well, how much is this real and how much is? The problem is, it's the first scene throughout the whole thing where it doesn't show an alternate perspective.
Yes.
It looks like she actually did it exactly the way that it looked. And it's great, it's hilarious and fun. Like all of the battles are like over the top funny, and they're designed that way. Like the whole movie is over the top, like in her head, crazy and the CGI is a little like insane at moments, and it's over the top, and you can tell it's on purpose. Mm-hmm. The problem, that scene was the first one where it didn't feel like, wait, is this actually happening? Because I thought she was starting to come out of it, but then towards the end they like Manchurian candid her, and she goes straight sleeper agent. Yeah, and you're like, okay, she's still broken. Like this is all. So it works. It works okay. That's why I gave it that 8.5 rather than just an 8. Because the film never really makes it clear, honestly enough, at any point, what's truly real and what's not.
That's fair.
Even from Bryan Cranston's side, like this logo's like got a purple hue to it. So you're like, but then it's all colors and hearts and things. So it's like she sees everything in excess. So no matter what she does, even though she does really cool stuff, it's all up here. Yep. But I gave it a little bit of pass too, because films like Mission Impossible and the what are they called? The Fast and Furious films and many other films have done silly things like that, and they meant it. Like it's like, this is happening. So this one with the psychological effects, I'm willing to give it a lot more freedom.
That's fair. It has a little bit more looseness to it. It's not quite like the fun over the topness of like the Kingsman movies. Like obviously they're going to be similar, they have the same director, so they're going to have some similar aspects to them. This one, however, does give it enough excuses that when it goes like super over the top and hilarious, it's actually like a visual spectacle, whereas Kingsman, it goes over the top in like a fun way, not a funny way. Yes, because it's not a psychological thing where we're seeing it from her perspective. Like she's in her element, she's with her guy, they're doing this thing and working as a team. So for her, she sees it as a literal dance, and they're doing an actual dance. But in all reality, they're working as a team. They're coordinated, but they're not choreographed.
Correct.
So
she her brain like confuses those two things, and there's like, I like your analogy there, where it goes over the top in a fun way, not a funny way. Like the Fast Furious films, they'll drive a car out of a helicopter and land it on a thing. It's silly, but it's like, okay,
it's overly ridiculous.
Yes, but it's fine. But this would be like they fly ahead with a helicopter and a guy catches the car and sets it down. Like, it's a slight, they took it even higher, but it's done on purpose because her mind is like wheeling this like weird, exaggerated view of her past. And her mind is trying to make sense of her past memories in a way that it can't comprehend. And they visually do that so well. It's like, it's like I felt like I myself could have been in that situation. Like, man, what would happen if I like lost my memories and like I'm really actually something I'm not? Like, how would I see myself? Like a dream-like, exaggerated state. That was fun.
He's on to us.
It was just fun. Like the premise, the plot, the pacing, the characters, the what's her name? The lead. She was in Jurassic Park. She was amazing. The guy that was with, I don't remember any of the. Samuel Jackson is the only person, and Bryan Cranston the only two I could name in this film.
Henry Cavill, John
okay.
Cena, Sam Rockwell.
But the
Dallas,
the three lead. Well, I guess the one girl's not really a lead as much, but the two leads, like I don't know their names, either of them.
Dallas Howard.
Okay.
I forget her first name. Is it Bryce Dallas Howard?
I don't know.
I feel awful.
And I can't. I don't even recognize the guy, but they did amazing.
Sam Rockwell,
that's who it is. Okay. They did great. They were amazing together. They had good chemistry. It was believable. The whole thing just felt like a real thing that could happen with the film being like
the way that it is,
but with her head twisting it. Like,
yeah.
It's like a psychological film of what she's portraying onto reality.
Yeah,
it's her perspective. It's fun.
Yeah, as much as the CGI and stuff like that can kind of fail the film, the chemistry and the acting in this film is very spot on. It's very well done. Their chemistry is really believable. The way they play off of each other, their comedic timing is really well done as well. It's a very, very well put together film. The biggest issue is literally just they skimped on the CGI, and there's a little bit too much predictability at times, but it makes up for it in the fact that it's fun.
Yeah, it's a blast.
It's a blast.
Highly recommend this film to anyone. And if you haven't watched it, you're watching the spoilers. I'm sorry, but we warned you. But if you've already watched it, we'd love to hear how you thought about it because we had so much fun.
We had a lot of fun. Like this
is like Wonka levels of fun. The movie just isn't as technically good as Wonka, but man, it's fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I can see where some of the critics come in, but at the same time, if you just watch the film for what it is, it's a fun spy thriller in February. That's what it is. It literally is just a film that gets released in February. It's well put together, it's well done, but it's not necessarily the thing that the studio's putting out as the flagship. Kind of the same thing with The Beekeeper.
Yep.
The Beekeeper is a perfect example of a January action film.
Yep.
It's not what the studio is putting out for war season. It's not what the studio is putting out as the best quality thing forward. But it's a fun, fully put together film, and it's done in a very, very fun way. And I'm actually kind of excited about the fact that they're taking the in-movie book and making it into an actual movie. Yeah. I'm curious to see how that works out.
That looks like fun. And the last comment I have just runs off yours there. Where like it's a fun film for a like the beginning of the year action flick. It's good, but not just for beginning of the year action flick. It's just good, period. Yep. Like this is a film that could have been a summer hit and it would do well. Like I think this film would have done well in the summer. So releasing it now, like I don't know how well it actually will like, but it's also with Apple, and so it'll get the
Apple and Universal.
Yeah, so it'll get the streaming treatment quickly, but it looks to be like something that's just going to be an absolute blast.
Yeah, absolutely. It is definitely worthy of being the first film that people are excited about watching for the year, I think.
Yep.
So if you haven't seen it and you're going to, I don't think that you're going to be disappointed. Just be prepared. The visuals aren't necessarily there, but the film and everything else.
CGI doesn't get as bad as Flash, but...
Well, no, it's not as awful as Flash. It's not as awful as Expendables 4.
It's a little uncanny.
Yeah.
But it works in the beginning of the film better than the end. So be gracious as you're watching it. You'll see what we mean.
Give the film grace for its visuals. Pay more attention to the funness and let the film be the film.
Yep.
Otherwise, we've already done our spiel. We'll see you guys in the next video.
Thanks for watching.